When we talk about styles, we like to talk about technical distinctives, how a style makes a fist or how it throws a punch. And so I thought I would share with you the technical distinctives of the style Ryukyu Kempo. Now, if you look at what we would consider a traditional karate style, like say Shotokan, which was the first style I trained, I learned to punch like this. Put that right dead center, lined up with center line. The fist is flat, nice and horizontal, just like this. And the hand at the hip just cranked back and horizontal that way. In Ryukyu Kempo, we don't punch like that. We actually punch like this. You see what happened? I stood here like this, and I had tension holding my body into position, and when I relaxed, my body just sort of floated naturally to this position. My arm rotated, almost like I was steering a car, to a 45 angle. This, by the way, is called the neutral position of the forearm. This position is the neutral position of the forearm, and this position is a very natural place to be. It's ergonomically natural. So you might call a punch done this way something like Shizen-tsuki. Natural punch. We also put another angle in at the end of the punch, so we punch just like anyone else would and rotate, and we hit that 45 angle, that natural angle, and then right at the end, here's another angle, just like this. See that? Just that little tilt. It's a very small motion of the fist. I was taught that it's like imagining you have a glass of water and you splash it on somebody. It's a way of putting additional energy into the target. We also use a different fist formation. So when I first learned karate, I was taught this fist formation, but this is what we use in Ryukyu Kempo. This is the old fist that you find in the oldest books on martial arts. I should mention something about that fist. I've heard people say, oh, this is a grappling fist, and it's not for hitting. You would never hit with a fist like this. I hit with this fist all the time. This is actually how I pounded my makawara, and this is, for me, the most comfortable fist for hitting. I use this all the time. So I would beg to differ with anyone who says that it's a grappling fist, because for me, it's a hitting fist. Another one of the technical distinctives is in how we form what's called the shuto, the sword hand position. When I studied Japanese karate, I was taught to make a sword hand like this. You see that kind of curve in the fingers there, flattening of the back of the hand, the thumb is bent and tucked, and this muscle is tight. This was how I was taught to do it. I always had trouble with this, though, because especially if it was being used in the manner called nukite, where you're like poking with your fingertips, this always seemed to be weak, like it would collapse down. So it was very difficult. But in Ryukyu Kempo, the method we use is like this. It looks like I'm holding water in the palm of my hand, so my thumb is straight. My fingers are curled in, and all my fingers are straight. This, by the way, is more stable if you're actually striking with the tips of your fingers. And so this is a characteristic of how we form that hand position. We also use it a little differently. So when I was trained in a traditional Japanese style, I was taught to do shuto like this. See, see that nice horizontal line, very, very pretty, and very much centered in. But when I learned the art of Kyushu Jitsu, I was taught that the pressure points, that you can't get the pressure point that way, that the pressure point is actually hit down on a downward diagonal, which means when we do that strike, we do it this way. We chop 45 angle down here, like this. Technique's called ukewaza. I was told this is for blocking. I'll use the term chudan uke to describe this technique for convenience sake. There's a lot of different names for it depending on who's naming it. Chudan just means middle level. So I was taught that's a block, middle block, sometimes called inside-outward block or something like that. I was told that you get this nice straight vertical line, and you just have to clear the line of your body so the punch would just miss you, and you block that to the outside, and then you might follow that with a big reverse punch. So I was taught this. See that nice straight vertical line, but in Ryukyu Kempo, we don't do this. We actually do this. You see? Whoa. First, my hand rotates, so there's that 45 natural angle of the forearm again, and then my body, my forearm is also angled inward, so not only is it turned, rotated this way, but it's also rotated this way just a little bit. Now, if you look at this and you say, well, yeah, but now the punch will slip in and will hit you in the chest, that's only if I think this is a block, but I don't think it's a block. I think it's for striking, and so that changes everything. It changes how the energy works. So, for example, if I do Chunin uke in the way I was originally taught, the energy is going like that direction, like I'm thumbing a ride. So this is a lot of work here in the rotator cuff. A lot of work in the rotator cuff, and it's actually hard on the shoulder. But in the Ryukyu Kempo method, you see how it comes forward like I'm striking, not sideways, but it actually comes out on an angle like I'm striking with an angled forward strike, because it's a strike just targeted at a vital target or a nerve point or a pressure point somewhere, and so that's why it's done that way. This also affects how we move across the line of the performance space, what's called the embusen, the line that describes the pattern of a traditional form, for example. If I step forward and do oizuki, step punch, the traditional method, the method I learned originally, it was straight, 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 just so that the power line of the techniques lined up with the embusen. But here in Ryukyu Kempo, I don't do it like this, see, straight ahead. I do it like this. See how it crosses the line? And I take that next step forward and it crosses the line. I take that next step forward and it crosses the line. The power lines cut across the angle across the embusen. In fact, if anything, angle, cutting angle would be the most significant technical characteristic of Ryukyu Kempo. All of the movements are very natural, but they're natural along natural angles of the body. Everything cuts an angle. This, by the way, is a really useful way to think about the distinction between a classical style like Ryukyu Kempo, which we might call a form of karate jitsu, and a traditional style like Shotokan, which we might call a form of karate do. Karate do loves the vertical and the horizontal lines. Karate jitsu loves the angled lines. I hope that this helps you understand something about Ryukyu Kempo as a distinctive style of practice. And I hope that it maybe gives you some insights that might help you understand your own style, whatever that is. I'm Chris Thomas. These are some reflections from the master class. Thanks for watching. Now go train.